Good afternoon. I am Jenny Moore, and I am here to talk about the historiography of religion and the American Revolution. The general idea for my dissertation is that the Puritans have long been kind of focused on. They've taken most of the pride in saying, the Great Awakening and our Puritan beliefs all helped, energize the American Revolution. So the revolution started here. And of course, physically, it did start in Massachusetts, but I intend to prove that the middle and southern colonies also had as much input and influence and religious fervor that carried over from the Great Awakening into the Revolution. They've just gotten lost in history. So we start the historiography itself with Robert Baird, who in 1844 developed the idea that the whole American Revolution period was fraught with evil. And he wrote about that time period in Religion in the United States of America in 1844. So a little after the Revolution, obviously, and prior to that, and even after that, the writings in the history tended to focus on individuals, the founding fathers, Washington, Jefferson, Franklin, all of Adams, all of those guys and others. That was the focus. Biographies, a lot of, publications of diaries and letters and things like that. No real analysis of the scholarship occurred, and no real connection being made between the Great Awakening and the Revolution. They were two completely separate topics that historians might look at one but not the other. By the 1860s, we had some more religious publications, particularly sermons, that really were focusing on inspiring a war-torn nation, that, to have hope, to have faith. So there was the Pulpit of the American Revolution, actually published by Puritans in a religious organization. And still, men like the historian William Warren Sweet just called this the normal ebb tide of religious history. There wasn't anything prior to this that connected religion and the revolution or about the religious ideals of the revolution. And here we just have a group of sermons that were meant to be inspirational to support those in the Civil War. So not making that full connection to the American Revolution. We had church organizations also doing just a church history in the late 19th century. The American Church History series took up several volumes. Volume 3 looked at the Revolution and continued to call it a period of spiritual lethargy, according to the text by Williston Walker, who wrote in Volume 3 specifically. And there just wasn't that designation of the connection between the Great Awakening and that fervor and that religion carrying over to being specific reasons for the start of the American Revolution. As we enter into the 1900s, we don't see a whole lot of writing kind of back to biographies, very simplistic types of things. And then in 1953, Perry Miller wrote The New England Mind, From Colony to Province. And here we start to get the covenant of the Great Awakening and how that may have connected to the revolution in slight ways. A lot of progressive historian analysis that came out of this era. And then in 1966, Alan Heinrich wrote Religion in the American Mind, The Great Awakening to the Revolution. And so we finally have that connection being made. At first, his work was unaccepted by historians, and now it has become very accepted and has kind of built the modern path. All of that to say, obviously, still focusing on New England and the Puritan ways. So again, my dissertation is going to fill that hole that exists in the scholarship. They haven't looked at middle or southern colony sermons, clergy, any religious records or religious texts that are coming out of the middle and southern colonies, both during the Great Awakening and what might then connect to the Revolution. And so that's where my dissertation will fit in that niche and broaden the historical narrative that is obviously so desperately lacking. So thank you very much for your time. Have a good evening.